AJ, I don't know if you're as excited about this one as I am, but this fight, Dan Ige versus Gavin the Guv'Nor Tucker, man. I'm a little disappointed because Ige's original opponent was Ryan Hall, and I haven't seen Ryan Hall fight in some time. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. But this is a completely different matchup, man. And if you liked what Sean Brady did last weekend at 170 pounds, man, against Jake Matthews, you're gonna like what Gavin Tucker does because I call them clones more or less, man. These dudes are like the same fighter, not really the same fighter, but they look so similar. They kind of have the same type of persona. It's just two different weight classes, featherweight and welterweight. But nonetheless, man, Gavin Tucker, how much, just before we get started, how much do you know about Gavin Tucker going into this fight?
Before going into this fight, not much, Derek. I actually had to do a lot of research on this guy. Even with his last fight against Billy Q, who I'm high on, it was an okay match, and I don't necessarily think it was a unanimous decision. But
Sure.
after that, that's when I really started having to get going on him.
Well, so like I've been watching Gavin Tucker since the Wu Choi fight, right? So he's on a 3-fight win streak right now. He got a submission on Wu Choi. He got a submission on Justin James after starching him for a couple rounds, and then versus Billy Q, who I am incredibly high on, man. This was passing the test to me. That was the big test. This is an even bigger test than Dan Ige, but that was the big test because Billy Q is so unorthodox in the way that he walks you down the entire fight, nonstop pace, nonstop pressure. I actually got an opportunity to ask him about it on his Instagram, like what made you like go with that style, you know what I mean? And he had said, in my first fight, I was so nervous, I just decided to just completely put the gas on and walk forward against my opponent. And I saw that I went Goggin style, and I took his soul. Like he told me that, and I was all like, oh shit, like okay, I love that first and foremost, man. But then it goes to show you got to be able to keep it up for 3 rounds, man. It was kind of like Aljo Sterling. He tried to take the same approach, gassed out in about round two, really. You know what I mean, against Piotr Jan, but that's another story. Nonetheless, man, Dan Ige, man, he has a 5-inch reach advantage in this fight, man. I think that a lot of the hype, a lot of the name, a lot of all of that stuff is favoring Dan Ige completely, man. But I want to ask you, do you think this is a much closer match than the odds are indicating? Because right now Ige is a minus 150 favorite over Gavin Tucker, who is plus 125 underdog. Give me some thoughts.
Oh, it's definitely a lot closer than that, man. I almost don't even have Tucker as the underdog personally. I mean, I think I'm putting a little high, or I guess I'm undercounting Dan Igue's performance against Calvin Kattar a little bit because he
Sure.
was really outclassed a lot. And in that fight I was watching, it was a little, like I said, under impressive. And I really think Gavin Tucker is a hell of a banger, man. And he really, one of his biggest thing is he strings together a ton of strikes and sits on them.
Yep.
So he'll hit you, string these strikes together, see his opening, sit on it, and really crank one, man. And I'm a big fan of Tucker. I personally think, like I said, I think this is more of a little bit pick'em, but I think Dan Ige's name and notoriety is driving a lot of that underdog force for him. What do you think?
Well, you know what, man? I'm biased because I'm already high on the dude, man. But I do have to sit here and say Dan Ige, I think that he deserves the name recognition that he has in the sport right now. Losing to Calvin Kattar is absolutely nothing to hang your head on. And when we saw what Max Holloway did to Calvin Kattar, I think that's why we get this low impression of Dan Ige. But I think that really just speaks to how good Holloway is, right? But nonetheless, man, he lost against Kattar, but he has a win. So he strung together 4 wins in a row. Henry, Kevin Aguilar, who's a very high level striker, man. Aguilar is no joke in terms of his boxing and his kickboxing. Bektik, he got a split decision win right there, so that one was really huge. And then the biggest one, Edson Barbosa, man, 2 split decisions, so he arguably could be on a 3-fight losing streak right now, arguably with this split decision stuff. But nonetheless, man, it's going to be interesting. And I think that if this fight stays on the feet, I got to give it to Dan Ige 100%. And I think he has a little bit too much experience, and he has a little bit too much of that. Like I said, man, 5-inch reach advantage. He has a good jab. He likes to throw in, wing those hooks in. I think that personally, Gavin Tucker's best bet of winning this fight is utilizing his 3 takedowns per fight that he averages, right? Getting this ground to the fight and looking for the submission or the top control. I think that's the best way for him to win. But we do need to take into consideration that he only has a 42% takedown accuracy, and Dan Ige has a 59% takedown defense. So, on the fight, do you think that Tucker could win this on the feet? Excuse me.
Yeah, actually, I do, and I think one of the biggest reasons why I actually am a little higher on Tucker is because Tucker, he throws to actually hurt you,
Hmm.
whereas Danny gets thrown to touch you up. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And they both can hurt you. Don't let me sound like Ige can't hurt you, but he's more like I said, volume. He's going to keep it going, and then go about his business plan. But Tucker's actually throwing to hurt you, man. And I think one of the biggest things going into this fight is if you don't hurt him early and kind of get him a little scared, Tucker's going to keep coming for you, man. He's going to keep coming for your head. And I think that right there is what drew me to actually choose Tucker. And I'll let the decision, I'll let the pick out right now, man. I'm going Tucker by decision because I think it's going to be a drawn out dogfight where they're really having to get gritty, and it's going to be a lot of back and forth, man. And I think the deciding factor for me was when Tucker throws, he goes for the head and goes to hurt you, whereas Ige, he likes to touch you up and he's down to mix it up any other way about it goes. What do you think?
So no, I agree with you, man. That's one of the things I like about Ige is the level changes, right? Touching up the body, hitting you in the head, just kind of trying to play that Diaz style, right? Just touch you for 3 rounds straight, man. And I think that if he's smart, if he is the veteran that I think that he is, you utilize that 5-inch reach advantage, dude. You pop that jab all day long, and it's like I said, man. It's the classic: the left hand, the jab. It's the bitch, get off me. You know what I mean? Just get off me, stay away. I don't want no problems, right? And I think Ige will have the opportunity to have a lot of success in that way, but nonetheless, man, folks, if you tuned into the betting show and you heard me talk about why you should bet on Gavin Tucker and why I'm so high on him, don't think I'm a flip-flopper. I just think in terms of value, that's a great value at plus 125 for Gavin Tucker because it's a very winnable match. But in my heart of hearts, when I'm sitting here and I'm making my pick and I got to affect my percentage on my accuracy, I got to go Dan Ige, man. So I'm going to go Dan Ige and I'm going to go decision because I think that reach advantage it's going to be tough closing that distance on Dan Ige if you're Gavin Tucker. So shout out to the governor. I wish all the best, man. But listen, prove me wrong. Make me eat crow, right? Prove me wrong. That's your job as an MMA fighter. So